Conservative activist Phyllis Schlafly has died at the age of 92. As you can see, she lived a long life as a conservative activist who fought against things like equal rights for women, gay marriage, and pretty much everything that liberals want and believe in. So Schlafly was a vocal opponent of women's liberation movement that took hold in the United States in the 1970s and was a key player in the defeat of the Equal Rights Amendment. Now, the Equal Rights Amendment would essentially give women equal rights to men. And her argument was, well, if we give equal rights to women, then they might be drafted. Okay, they should be drafted. Okay, another argument that she had was...
She was sort of right, actually. As we started to give equal rights, eventually women can now theoretically be drafted.
Yeah. She was right. By the way, if there is a draft, why should men be the only ones who go abroad and risk their lives for the country?
I think they should be the last to go.
Okay,
it's scary over there.
That was one of her arguments. Another argument was that the Equal Rights Act would basically force women to be on an equal footing to men when it came to cases of alimony and child support. It's really interesting because a lot of conservatives who are anti-feminist don't realize that what she wanted was to make sure that when women divorce their husbands, that they can like totally screw you over with alimony and child support.
It's clever. It's very pragmatic, I'll give her that.
It is really interesting. She also believed that a woman's place is, in the home, raising the children. While she was running around, commentating on things, she had 2 unsuccessful bids in Congress. Sorry, I guess you weren't good enough, right? Maybe you should be in the kitchen making a sandwich. By the way, I get it, she's dead. You don't say bad things about dead people. But you know what? Phyllis Schlafly was a terrible person. If you don't believe me, take a look at this video.
There's nothing in the Constitution about homosexual marriage, and the judges made it up, and some people think that because they did, the Supreme Court has spoken, therefore we have to accept it. And we don't. We ought to treat it like Abe Lincoln treated the infamous Dred Scott case, when he said, okay, we have to accept what the court did to poor old Dred Scott, said he had to be a slave, but we don't have to accept that as the rule of the land, because we live in a free country, and we know that that decision will someday be overruled, and we don't have to obey it just because a few judges said so.
So that was her commentary after the Supreme Court struck down DOMA.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what you should keep in mind is that she is very much against same-sex marriage. She was very much against same-sex marriage. And in that commentary, she's essentially saying that people should ignore the Supreme Court ruling and refuse to grant same-sex couples a marriage license.
Well, they should refuse it and not get gay married. They don't have to get gay married just because some court says other people can. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Just be a patriotic American and get married to the person you want to.
By the way, another thing to keep in mind is that her son is gay. So that's what she believes.
Well, I guess she's a true believer. You almost have to admire that. And also, I love progress for conservatives is using the eventual legal and constitutional expansion of rights for African Americans as the foundation for your argument to deny them to gay Americans.
Yep.
That's progress, baby.
Yeah, and I want to read you a few of her quotes. She says, "Women don't need anything special. We've got a very generous family leave right now. I do think the support of the children is the responsibility of the husband, not the employer." So she basically said, no family leave. We have a generous family leave already, which is absolutely no guaranteed paid maternity or paternity leave. Okay, so that there was one quote from her. And then just one more. "Our greatest presidents have all been men, and they've been very good for our country." Well, no, they haven't. There's been a lot of really terrible presidents.
Well, no, she's right. Our greatest presidents have all been men. Also, our worst presidents have all been men. The mediocre ones, mostly men, because they've all been men. She's a clever one. She's clear. She is for asymmetric rights. In ways that women are advantaged by the law, she likes it and wants to keep it. And in the ways that women are disadvantaged by the law, she just denies that it's even a problem. And she is totally fine with that. That women can be screwed over in some areas, advantaged in others. Doesn't really matter how that shakes out for individual people's lives. She wants to continue that because that's the way it's been.
Yeah.
There's no point in fighting for equality if, it might take away some of the advantages I have.
Phyllis Schlafly perfectly demonstrated some people's inability to empathize with others. And what I mean by that is she got married to a wealthy man in St. Louis, and so she was taken care of. That didn't stop her from going out there and pursuing a career. She had a career her entire adult life, right? Till the very end, she was commentating on politics. She was campaigning for Donald Trump. So she always had a career. She was not a stay-at-home mom. And she was taken care of by her husband, who was tremendously wealthy. But here's the thing. The vast majority of Americans depend on a dual income household, right?
Yeah,
they have to work. Even for the people out there who want to be stay-at-home moms, they literally can't afford it and they have to go out there and work. Also, you're so conservative that you wouldn't want a system that would allow mothers and fathers to be at home with their infants for X amount of time before they have to go back to work. Is that really what a conservative value is?
We have a generous family leave program. And we know this because she said it, and she looks like someone's grandmother.
I just wish she would have practiced what she preached and stayed at home and not, spouted her ridiculous, nonsensical ideas about, gender equality. Yeah. And look, I'm not saying that I think, oh my God, women should totally have more rights than men. No, I think that men and women should be treated similarly when it comes to issues of alimony and child support. I think men and women should be treated similarly if we had a situation where there was a draft, right? I want true equality, right? Someone like Phyllis Schlafly, I can't even say her name. Yeah.
Well, even Trump misspelled it in a tweet.
She wasn't in favor of any type of equality. And some might argue that, she was the anti-feminist, but in a lot of ways, she wanted women to have more rights in certain cases than men. Yeah. So for the conservatives that applauded her, I wonder if they really knew what her ideas were. Nonetheless, she's gone, and she is literally a dying breed. Yeah, so it is what it is.
Wow, man, you just don't, you just tear apart.
I know.
And you're right, too. We had this talk, I'll try to be very brief, when Antonin Scalia died, and I tweeted some things that people took issue with. Well, I got news for you. That was like the 10th draft. The first 9 were way more offensive. Look, when everybody says you should only speak well of the dead, that's not the way it works. When someone dies, you look back on what they represent, what they accomplished, what they tried to do, and you discuss it. And if you're a private person and all of your endeavors are private, then we're not going to do that on the Young Turks, obviously. But you better bet that your family members and your friends are going to talk about you, whether you're an angel or the devil. And when you take it into the public arena and you try to change people's lives for the better or for the worse, then that opens it up to public discussion. And if you die and you were an angel or you had a great effect on the world, maybe you were Gene Wilder, you're a great comedian, then people are going to applaud you in public. But when you work to take away people's rights, to stop them from gaining equal rights, then it's fine to take a few minutes out when that person finally passes and to talk about what they represent and where we're trying to move as a society, where they no longer fit in.
Exactly. And one final thing that I do want to add is I'm very, very progressive and very open about it. And I understand that there are people out there who despise me as a result of my political beliefs. And you want to know something? I'm proud of that. So one day when I pass, and I hope I live a long life just like Schlafly did, if there are conservatives or right-wingers that have negative things to say about me, I will feel a tremendous amount of pride, even though I won't exist anymore and I won't be around to know what they're saying about me. Yeah. I love being everything that the right wing hates. I'm proud of it. And so hopefully Phyllis Schlafly, if she could hear what we're saying, would feel prideful about our commentary. I don't know. Either way, she's gone. If you thought I was fiery in this video, wait till you see how I get in the post-game show. Become a member and watch our members-only post-game show at tytnetwork.com/join.